So the Safdarjung House is an exercise in trying to arrive at a typology for multi-apartment buildings in Delhi. The house is located in Safdarjung Enclave. It was a project that we were asked to conceive and design by a single family. This family was occupying an old house on the street where there's a sort of a mixed fabric of developer homes, self-built apartment buildings and older houses. The idea was that the property had to remain within the family, but because the family had expanded and they needed multiple spaces for their own use, they decided to rebuild. What we chose to do is try and cut through the visual clutter of the street and create a simplified and perhaps essential building that is more about the light and the ventilation, because such things are at a premium in smaller plots such as this. The lane is narrow, there isn't too much light coming from the front and the back, and the plots are about 30 feet wide. So the design of the building is optimized in such a way that the front of the building, which is the 30 feet, is all glass. The same goes for the back. And so we have light coming in from the front and the back only. And on this floor where we're sitting, we have light coming in from the top as well. So this is the street. You come in from this side, and we are the third house from the corner. The setback line is the same for all of the houses, and so we designed a building that sits within the front and back of this. This width of the house is 30 feet, and at the front it's 30 feet as well. It's not a very deep plot, it's about 65 feet long. We decided to divide the building into two parts. We would keep one section of the building as a place where you have a free flow of light and air, and we would pack in all of the services and bedrooms and staircases into the other half. So at the back there is a bedroom, bedroom in the front, there's a kitchen somewhere here. There's a staircase here, an elevator, a powder room, a toilet here, and this area was for services. So the benefit of this is that we are blessed with a space, even in a tight plot, that allows you to stand in the middle and look in the front and the back. It gives you certain depth of perspective. On the top floor, we carved away part of the roof and inserted a courtyard. This courtyard is clad with stone, and a series of steps helps you go up to the terrace. This courtyard acts as a place for plants as well as natural light to come into the building from both sides. I particularly am influenced by an architect called Louis Kahn. And Louis Kahn was famous for doing buildings that had these perfect openings in them. There would be square, triangular, circular openings in them. And this idea slowly emerged that what if we inscribed a circle within a brick screen? It would not only serve the purpose of providing enough light because it would be a large enough aperture, but it would also make the building uniform in the sense that it wouldn't sort of try and break up the different floors into different materials, which is what is normally done to break the visual mass of the building. Rather than it would sort of collect all of it into one whole. We had an elevation that was 50 feet tall, and on this side we had a building that was equally large. Over here we had a building that was a bit smaller. We picked up the gate as a series of vertical elements, left the ground floor as it is, and within the square that emerged, we made a perfectly circular opening. This circular opening was created in red brick, and within this we made jalis. So the various floors all get their individual light, and we get a Louis Kahn-esque elevation. In the post-independence era of making buildings, modernity has been very important, and that has sort of led to a dilution of craftsmanship. This building seeks to upend that system. We've tried to use the craftsmanship within a modernistic ideal, and so the idea is to bring in the craftsman to the forefront of how the project is actually made.
Our primary intent of using materials on this floor specifically was to go for a lot of locally available materials. This is all monolithic Kota stone. This is 2 inch of Kota that is resting on a structural wall and cladded with Delhi Quartzite in front. The primary reason of using Delhi Quartzite was to create a backdrop to the sort of landscaping that the client was very sure, and to give a contrast to all the subtle greys and the greens of Kota. We've also added an element of jesselmate. So if you can see, the flooring has a bit of jesselmate, which also magnifies when it comes to first few steps. So these walls are all exposed brick, which also act as the real structural element on this floor. If you notice how the exposed concrete and wall sort of come together, and at the same time when we went on creating these walls, the electricals and all the services come together all at once. The other important and rather interesting feature were the roof. At the time of shuttering, we had used wooden shuttering added, so then we pour concrete over it. Once this shuttering was done, we used the same material as part of the door. The third thing is this jesselmate table. Again, this is used as the same jesselmate that we use in the flooring everywhere, but we also ended up doing a bit of inlay, and we created some Russian dolls over it. So the same material palette that has been used in rest of the floor has also been introduced in the bedroom, but in a fashion that there is more of Kota and a bit of jesselmate in the bedroom, and when it flows into the bathroom, there's an opposite of the material. So there is more jesselmate and less Kota. If you notice, we've also introduced elements of rattan and jute to give a warmer feel to the bedroom. The other interesting bit is the skylight that is directly bringing in light and quite a lot of daylight directly into the bedroom. It's also complemented with these pergolas, which are also now being used as hanging planters. So as the facade comprises of ring, which also has these brick jali at all balcony levels, so these bring in light, and at the same time it creates some sort of a buffer between the outside and the inside. So the tension ring is made up of stainless steel, which supports the complete facade, and all the balconies for all 4 levels are on the inset of the complete facade. The other thing that have been used while we come inwards into the facade are metal railings. All of these balcony floorings is similar to the flooring used on the inside. The texture in the balconies are rough and leather finished, whereas the one on the inside are polished and somewhere leather polished, depending on the area of application. In the evening, when all the lights are on, and one can really see that jali being a traditional and locally available material, how it juxtaposed with all of these metal MS railings that are painted in grey. It creates a sort of a comparison between the modern and the traditional. At the end of the day, it gives a very synonymous look and feel to the elevation.
So this is my favorite part of the house. Especially wanted a courtyard so that there is enough light and air. And what is nice about it is in the morning you get the sun there, it's east side, and also on the night the moon first comes there. I actually start my day with a cup of coffee, which I like to take here because it's nice to just get out of the house and sit and have a cup of coffee here. It's a hangout spot, it's a nice hangout spot. So also when it rains, like monsoons have been gorgeous actually. Like I'll sit on my table, just the rain falling on the glass and this entire area having water, and while you're sitting inside is again a favorite time. I've really enjoyed that phase. The entire process was about 2.5 years, 3 maybe. I think one very important learning for us and what we understood was the fact that you have to trust your architect and the person who's designing the place. You have to also be very involved with an architect.